To some politics now. The National Council of the governing New Patriotic Party will on Thursday, 4th of July, decide the fate of Dr. Matthew Pempe, Energy Minister, as running mate of flag bearer Dr. Bawumia. Well, this follows the completion of the necessary consultation by Dr. Bawumia, which saw the acceptance of Dr. Matthew Pempe by President Akufo-Addo. Well, we know that on Friday, June 28, the majority leader, Alexander Afenyo-Markin, confirmed that the caucus is in full support of Dr. Bawumia's choice of NAPO as running mate. But is this confirmed? Now, let's engage the Director of Communication for Dr. Bawumia's campaign team, Dennis Aboagye. Thank you for your time here on News Desk. Now, this has taken quite some time. We have less than 5 months to the election. Your opposition, the biggest opposition party, has already outdoed their running mate. Why do you think this has kept so long? Will this affect your chances?
Actually, it hasn't. I mean, if you follow the NPP, you realize that we are very well within our timelines. The last time we had a scenario like this, that's the nomination of Dr. Bawumia as a running mate. That was in August. Yeah. August 2008. And so really, if we are successful at the timelines we've set for ourselves now, which is likely to be on Thursday, then we are way ahead of our own schedule.
There are internal wranglings about the choice of Napo as running mate. Is he fit to bring the people together to canvass the votes needed?
I think comparatively, I haven't seen so much of internal wranglings. You are very much aware that there are a lot more persons within the party that are very well qualified to be running mates to Dr. Bawumia. And so a couple of people were looking forward to being the nominees for the running mate role. So you should expect that 1 or 2 persons may be disappointed and their followers or loved ones would also be disappointed. But that's the beauty of democracy. The essence of it is that once we are done and settled on one person, we all rally behind the person. And you can trust the NPP that right after Thursday, when the National Council meets and ratifies or approves the recommendation from Dr. Bawumia, everybody is going to rally behind Dr. Bawumia and Dr. Matthew Pempe. We have the view that this is a perfect pair for Mother Ghana going into the future. And everyone within the party is committed to that cause.
Andy Appiah feels otherwise. He feels NAPO is not a unifier. He feels NAPO would not submit to authority. In your internal checks, is that the case? I
have seen and heard a lot more members of parliament share contrary views. I heard the majority leader. I heard the member of parliament for Ifijako North. I heard the member of parliament for Nsawam. I heard the member of parliament. I have heard several members of parliament eulogize Dr. Matthew Pempe and speak of how much of a go-getter he is, how much of a disciplinarian he is, how resource-oriented he is, and how much of a team player he has been. You know, he's been in parliament for a long time. He's one of the longest-serving members of parliament, and he served on several committees in parliament. And I think that his leadership qualities in the public sector is one that is obvious for everybody to see and would not be subjected to an individual's opinion. The views that the majority have of him is one that is quite refreshing and positive for the party and government.
It's one thing for the party to accept him. It's another thing for Ghanaians to accept him. Do you think he's the right candidate if you're looking at getting votes from the rural place of Ghana, especially when during the energy crisis, he was asked to brief the media on steps forward, give us a load shedding timetable. He felt it wasn't necessary. Ghanaians felt that was rude. Do you think he's the right person?
So Dr. Bawumia's indicators for selecting a running mate were predominantly two main ones. One that is bringing a huge political capital, and then the other one that would be this person who will complement his efforts in implementing the vision that he has for the country. And clearly, Dr. Matthew Pempe brings out these two important elements. He's an astute politician, very experienced, one of the most experienced politicians we have actually in this country as we speak. One of the longest serving members of parliament. He's run elections and be a candidate for several years. He's coming from our strongest hold. He's liked and loved by the Ashanti region based on the kind of social impact he's had in the region and near and far. For the general population, they are looking for one that would solve problems. They are not looking for one that would necessarily lie on the floor or roll on the floor. They are looking for that individual that would listen hear them out, engage them, and solve their problems. You remember when Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh was Minister for Education? Mm-hmm. If you compare his time at the Ministry of Education to the time of all the ministers preceding him, you'd realize that it was during his time that we had so much stability in the education sector, little labor upheavals, simply because the labor unions and the leadership and the labor union members will tell you that Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh will call you into his office, sit down with you, jaw, and engage you so that we arrive at a solution. In this country, you barely have the kind of experience that we had during the time of Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh at the Education Ministry. It's either NAGRAT or NAT or CCT or some, unrest somewhere. But the entire period Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh was at that ministry, you'd realize that he was able to calm things down, stabilize the sector, and that led to his ability to implement one of the most impactful social intervention policies we've seen in this country, which is the free senior high school policy. The impact he made at the ministry, the transformation he brought to the ministry, the reforms he brought to the ministry, the impact it had on the lives of the Ghanaian people within that period is still felt and remembered by the people. The energy sector, look at the stability there. It's extremely difficult for you to have a sector where you run 4 years without energy disruptions. Recently, when we had just about 10 weeks of energy disruptions, you see the agitations, and that brought the question of, timetable. I think that, first of all, that was a movement that is interpreted in different ways. The context, the venue, the location, the microphone, the time, and you ask, are you bringing a timetable? He said, there is no doom so why are you asking me for a timetable?
But at that time, we're feeling the pinch.
Yes, but
at that time, there were intermittent power outages.
But yes, intermittent. But you see, there was a specific direct question as to when are you bringing the timetable?
We needed a timetable.
Exactly. And then he said he doesn't think that from where we are going into, we need a timetable. That's basically what, and the person insists, they say, okay, then go and prepare your timetable because I am the one in charge. I am fixing the issues. I'm working at it, and I don't think that there's a need for a timetable.
But we are Ghanaians. We feel we need it. The posture of the people was that talk to us in a way that makes us feel some sort of comfort.
I think that the context, even the ambience and the environment and everything impacted how that was interpreted. This was like a party rally when people were even screaming and people were shouting and then they put the microphone at the. I don't think that we should isolate this matter, that particular incident, and interpret it the way that we are doing. I haven't really seen him comment on it, but I think it's quite unfair on him on that particular moment because there was a specific conversation. Give us a timetable. The man in charge says, we are fixing it. There's no need for a timetable. I don't think we need a timetable. Oh yeah, but we need it. I said, okay, go and prepare your timetable and break. 3 weeks afterwards, he fixes it. 3 weeks afterwards, he fixes it. So really, I think that it depends on how you look at it. Is it that you're looking at it as a half full glass or a half empty glass? But critically for the people of Ghana is that you asked him for a timetable, he said that there's no need for a timetable because the issues are being fixed, and he delivered. Which one do you think the Ghanaian person will place so much premium on? The delivery and fixing the situation, or giving you a timetable to just let you feel good?
Well, let's look at his candidature because that is even subject to approval by the National Council. Now, should the National Council reject him, the party does not have a running mate. Which other name do you think can pop up?
I don't think that's likely to happen because Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia did not just get up to, speak to some of the stakeholders that will make this name public. The last time I was here, I remember I mentioned to you that he's always known who his running mate was going to be even before the presidential primaries. Because before he set himself out to run for this contest, he needed to prepare and plot, run a SWOT, make sure that where he has weaknesses and where he has shortfalls, he knows who will complement him. And so over the period, since November 5th, when he became the flag bearer, he has been engaging almost everybody in the room that's going to be there on Thursday for National Council. And he solicited for their views. And he engaged and consulted widely before he settled and said, I think this decision is the best for us as a party. So you can be rest assured that on Thursday, almost everybody in that room for the National Council meeting has already engaged or interfaced with Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia on the choice of Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, and those hurdles have been cleared.
Let's look at the plan. You head the communications team. So should he be approved as the running mate, how do you plan to disabuse the minds of Ghanaians that he comes across as a rude person?
There is always a fine line between being assertive and confident and being described as arrogant and rude. Isn't that the case? There's a fine line. I mean, we've had several politicians who have been described in similar manner. Let the Ghanaian people begin to interface and engage him. You don't tell people who you are. You let people feel and experience who you are. The majority of the Ghanaians are only, they've only heard or seen him from afar. He's going to engage them. He's going to speak to them. He's going to visit them in their homes. He's going to visit them in their shops. He's going to visit them in their churches and their place of needs. After that engagement, you make your own assertion. At the moment, a lot of your assertions are based on the headlines, are based on the comments by opposition parties. Wait and meet the person. And that's what a lot of Ghanaians believe in. Ghanaians believe that you don't come and tell me who somebody is. Let me experience the person and make my own judgment. He is not going to be adored. Let him be adored. Let him now subject himself to the people of Ghana and engage them. And let the people of Ghana form their own opinion. At the moment, I don't think they've formed the opinion yet. These are views of few individuals who may or may not like the person. But there are over 30 million Ghanaians who need a leader. Allow them to make their own choices and make their own opinion formations.
Do you feel Napo would bring unity in the party?
Napo is already united the party. That is the reason why he is a running mate. Dr. Mahmoud
feels otherwise.
Apiakubi is one. You've heard 10 people speak, and you've heard one person say otherwise. And why are you picking on that? Why is that representative?
Every view matters.
10 people. You cannot have everybody. Joy, in this, your organization, do you agree with everything? Before I came here, when I was being mic'd, your production, they had disagreement. Somebody said the blue is too much. Somebody said the green is too much. And the one holding the remote said, oh, but you said I should do it. It doesn't mean they are fighting. They are still working as a team. Is that the case? But they disagree on certain things. That doesn't represent the view of everybody. The majority view is what we are running with. The New Patriotic Party is united behind Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. And not just united behind Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh. And not just because he is Napo, but also because as a party person, as a politician, as a member of parliament, his leadership and role and team play in this party is next to none. And all of us are testament to it. I am very young, way younger than Honorable Apiakubi. But the experience I've had...
He's a party member, that's why we're concerned. How do you change the opinion of people inside the party?
You always have to work to change the views of people.